after the radio call-ins after the meltdown. Tonight, it's his first live television interview to me. Everyone in Hollywood's asking the same thing. What is he thinking? Now, in his own words, no holds barred. This is a special live edition of Piers Morgan Tonight. Why are you here? What do you want to achieve with this interview?
Well, the thing is, Piers, I'm just here to set the record straight. Yeah, not real. Neither were Whitney Houston's teeth. Get over it. A lot of people have been sort of talking about me, saying a lot of things that aren't true. So, sort of come on the show and just give my side of it, really. I know that people are aware that I've sort of, you know, he's gone a bit crazy this year or whatever, and he's been out partying a lot. But and it has. This year has been awesome. It's just been crazy. Just drugs, booze, and women, and men. A lot of men as well. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I just want to give my side of it, and it's, yeah, good to see you, Piers.
We met in the early 90s, and it was in Aspen, Colorado, launch of Planet Hollywood there, the restaurant chain, and you did me a big favour.
Yeah, well, I don't really want to talk about that favour, to be honest with you.
You weren't keen to do it, didn't have much time. I asked you if you'd do it. You listened to me.
Yeah, I listened to you, because you were going on, as you do, but I didn't want to do the favour. It was disgusting. And you sort of made me do it, which I think is illegal.
I said to you, I'd owe you one. And watching all the interviews that you've been doing in the last 48 hours...
Right. Just a couple.
Yeah, and I kind of felt that it was all on a big, huge roller coaster, that everything seems a little bit out of control. And I wanted to give you a platform for 1 hour where you could really set the record straight in perhaps a slightly more controlled environment. And we get to the bottom of this incredible crisis which has unfurled with you in your life.
It's not a crisis. It's not a crisis. I guess from a lot of people's viewpoints, it has been a bit mental this year. I've stooped a lot of honeys. Yeah, if you were in my position, you'd probably have done the same. I don't regret it, but at the same time, I know in a lot of people's eyes it's excessive. And so I concede that it's been excessive.
I want you to say whatever you want to say. You know, I just want to get to the bottom. I want to get away from the craziness.
OK, so if we rewind back to Boxing Day last year, I'd just come off shift and I hook up, as I always tend to do with, you know, Fern Britton. She's sort of my Pete Doherty to my other one. We started hanging out with Styles from One Day Harry. He's a little legend, but the three of us get together and it just gets crazy. It can get sexy.
My view is, I think you're entitled to behave how the hell you like. As long as you don't, in the old-fashioned sense, scare the horses and the children.
I don't scare kids. I can't scare a kid. I'm Santa Claus. The great thing about my job is, bizarrely, I don't have to ever see him. Firstly, I'm down the chimney, like a ninja, and then I'm out. Kids, even if they saw me, they don't believe me. They just... I saw this kid the other day, this horrible little prick of a kid, and he looked at me, and I was like, oh, busted. And he's like, Dad, are you wearing the Santa suit? What prick? He thought I was his dad. But anyway, with all this excessive behaviour, all the stuff that's gone on, is the powers that be, they've decided to sack me, to get rid of me, you know? And the thing is, who do you replace me with? Yeah? You could get Adrian Charles and Christine Bleakley in to do it. I doubt it. They're a pair of bumheads.
I don't really get what the problem's been here. Obviously, I know what your view would be, but articulate why you think this is completely wrong.
Can you imagine what my year is like? If my year is just one day of just nutty prep, getting everything ready, one day of nutty work, and then 363 days, whatever, of just me time. But as the nights wear on, you know, and I just like to have a dust up. I just like to cut some rug. I love to cut some rug. Normally by week 2, I'm cutting some serious rug. That's when I start, you know, hitting spirits and, you know, then we're doing pills, and before you know it, you're taking a Valium just to come down every night. Did I enjoy it? Yeah, I loved it. But I realised that that's probably got to come to an end now, because my life's at stake.
You've talked this week about having benders that would put Keith Richards and Sinatra to shame, which I thought was a pretty spectacular claim. I mean, that's one hell of a bender. But again, I would reserve your right to lead your life how the hell you like.
In all fairness, you've got to look at it from the corporation side, and it's that we are sponsored now by a huge range of massive multinational companies. We've got JD Sports, we've got Chicken Cottage, Miss Millie's pulled out. It's a small Bristol chicken chain. We've got Lidl's sponsoring us, and they're huge. I mean, you can I mean, it's like shopping in a council estate person's brain. It's an awful place, but they make a lot of dollar. Oh, by the way, you can get a Kit Kat Littles for 25p. It's not a real Kit Kat, obviously.
Would you accept, if that was the case, that your behaviour then had to be moderated?
Absolutely, yeah. I've got to modify my behaviour. I've got to change it. And modifying my behaviour means that I can't run around a city centre on Boxing Day in, say, like Preston North End or something with my todger out, you know, and I can get away with it because people think I'm just a tramp, dressed as Santa. I can get away with a lot of stuff, and I have, up until now. So, yeah, I've got to change my behaviour, and I will. All right, stop going on.
Is your game plan to actually end up getting your job back?
I would love my job back. The thought of not having that at the end of the year, the thought of not being able to go and do that and deliver to the kids, I mean, if I can't do that, then I'm just a big fat prick in a red suit.
You said in an interview today that you wanted a pay rise.
Yeah, absolutely I want a pay rise. But I can see how it might look like I'm taking the piss. And I am taking the piss, but at the same time, I do want that money.
The programmes for alcoholism and drug addiction, have you seen it work for friends of yours? No,
they don't work. No. The Tooth Fairy went on one, and she came back and she was all like, oh, the steps and all that. And she was good for a month. And then her boyfriend broke up with her and she killed herself.
How do you hope it ends? You're one of life's great characters.
Thank you.
And
thank you, kind sir.
You know, you've admitted you've fallen by the wayside a little bit.
Yeah.
But everyone's entitled to a second go.
I've had a second go and a third go and a fourth go. But, you know, I'm rock and roll. What do you want to do? Are you going to forgive me? Of course you are. It's Christmas. That's what it's all about. Thanks, Piers. That tastes like